Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jenny. Today's video is going to be a review of the Profusion line that is sold at Walmart. I saw this line a little while ago and it's taken me a while because I've had to piece together this collection because every Walmart I've been to has been out of something. But I do have one thing from each category. I have the highlight and contour palette, the blush palette. One of the eyeshadow palettes, I have the chocolates palette, and then I have one of the lip sets in the shade Secret. So I do have all of these products on right now, and I didn't do a tutorial because I kind of wanted to do a wear test kind of version of a review. I have worn all of these all day except for the lipstick. I did not wear the lipstick to work, but everything else has been worn all day. So let's go ahead and start in with the reviews. So I do want to go ahead and review this lip set first. In the lip sets, it comes with 3 products. It comes with a matte lip liner, a matte lip cream, and then a sparkling lip topper. And like I said earlier, this is in the shade Secret. So first I'll go ahead and talk about the lip liner. This is what it looks like. It was slightly pointed when I first got it. And here is the swatch of it by itself. It is a little more nude compared to the lip cream, which I will swatch here in a minute. And overall, this is a decent lip liner. The shade's pretty, but it is a little too pink for me. Next is the matte lip cream. And at first, I thought this was similar to the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream. As you can see, this is a bit more rosy than the actual lip cream. The lip cream is a lot more cool tone and a lot more, just more vibrant pink instead of a little more neutral. Like the lip liner is a little more rosy. So I thought this was going to be more like the NYX Soft Matte Lip Creams because when you first apply it, it's very like moussey and like soft, and it does have a little bit more of a shine, but then it dries down more like an actual liquid lipstick. For a liquid lipstick, it's pretty comfortable. It's not super long wearing though. It does wear off in the center. It's not a bad lip product though. It's not like sucking the life out of your lips like lots of liquid lipsticks do. So overall, it's not a horrible liquid lipstick, but it's not the greatest I've ever tried. And then there's this lip topper, which in the bottle looks very, very pretty. It has like a golden kind of glittery sheen to it. But on your actual lips, it's basically just a clear gloss with some glitter in it, and you can barely even see the glitter. Yeah, I mean, you see like 2 sparkles on your lips and then it goes away. So to me, it's more of just like a clear gloss. I'm just really not a fan of this topper. I wasn't completely blown away by this set. I do like the lip liner out of all of the products. It is only $5 for all of these. I believe it was $4.99 or $5.99, so I do think that the price is good if you see a color selection that you like, because they do have that, a deeper pink, like a burnt orange, a purple, and a red. So I mean, there is quite a bit of variety, but to me, I just was not blown away. It's not great, but it's not bad either. So now I'm going to talk about the blush palette. You do get 6 blush products in this, and the packaging is not that great. I do like the holographic kind of packaging, but this is just a clear plastic sheet that's very, very flimsy. So it would not be good to travel with because this touches the product in here. So overall, not a fan of the packaging of the blush palette or the highlight palette because it is the same packaging. There are only 2 of them that are true mattes, and that is Lush and Juicy. These 3, Alive, Playful, and Great, they are more like satiny kind of. They do have a little bit of a sheen. And then Bashful up here is truly more of a pinky toned highlight where it is so light. If you're a very fair toned, this would probably be a very luminous blush. But for me personally, it is more of a highlight or a blush topper. Overall, I think these are really, really great quality. They wear really nicely. I have a mixture of Alive, Lush, and Playful on my cheeks right now. It has kind of worn off, but I've had this on since about 7 this morning, a little bit before 7. And I do still think that you can see it on my cheeks. I do think that these play really nicely together. You can mix any of these together, and I think that this is a really, really nice cool tone blush to pair with cool tone eye looks. These are all very, very soft to the touch. See, this one's almost like a highlight. So we have Bashful, Playful, and Juicy. And then we have Alive, Lush, and Great. So here are all of the blushes, and I do really think that this is a pretty palette. And I think this was only $5 or $6 as well. I really think that the blush palette is worth it. If you don't have a lot of blush, I think this is a really, really nice little set to have. because you do kind of get like some warms and some neutrals and a bright pink and then like more of a pinky highlight as well, and a cool tone blush. So I do think that this is a nice well-rounded blush palette for the price. So moving on to the highlight and contour palette, same thing with this packaging. It's not very good, but I do think the holographic is pretty. So I don't really know why this palette is called the highlight and contour palette, because you get 5 highlights and then 1 contour shade. So to me, it's more of just a highlight palette. They could have just taken this out, added another highlighter. To me, this is just very random because it's mostly highlights. So to me, it's just a highlight palette. But overall, I think the highlights in this palette are decent. They're not the greatest highlights. They don't have a whole lot of lasting power. I mean, it still looks good on the tops of my cheekbones, but overall, it has faded a lot. The contour shade is fine. It's not super pigmented, and it is a little warm tone for what I'm used to. It has kind of like a reddish kind of undertone. It's not bad, but more of a bronzer than a contour to me. For my highlight today, I do have... what do I have? I have Devoted and Heartfelt. I think those are the only 2. I may have a little bit of Impulse on the top. I can't really use Baked. It's this really, really dark one. But this one's kind of like a blush topper, and then these are all highlights for me. This one's a little bit more of like a neutral everyday kind of highlight, and then these 2 are a little more poppy. I think this was $5 or $6 as well, and I don't necessarily think that it's super worth it if you have a lot of highlights like I do, because these aren't fantastic, but they aren't horrible either. So to me, they're just kind of okay. The contour doesn't really do it for me. It's not fantastic, and I think it's kind of weird that it's the only shade in this palette. So we have Heartfelt. And these swatch gorgeously, but then they just don't apply great on the cheeks. They don't have the same intensity. This one is Impulse, and then Passion. And then we have Devoted, Baked, and then Shade Contour is what this is called. And it doesn't swatch great at all. And it is very sheer. It has to be built up on the face. And it just has a strange undertone for my skin tone. So here is the highlight and contour palette swatches. So now we are moving on to the final product, and that is the eyeshadow palette that I have. There were multiple eyeshadow palettes you could choose from. The one that I picked was the Chocolates palette because it was a bunch of nice neutrals and with a couple pops of green and a black. So I thought that this was a nice palette to jump into to get a feel for how these palettes are, because you could use mostly neutrals with a pop of color. So the packaging on the eyeshadow palette is a nice sturdy magnetic closure plastic palette. I think that I would have paid a couple extra bucks more for the face products if they were in this nicer packaging, because this is really nice compared to that one. The shadow palette was $10, and I think that the packaging definitely has to do with that. It does come with a double-ended brush. You get this nice kind of flat shading kind of brush, and then you get a standard kind of blender end brush. And I overall think that the quality of this brush is really super nice. This is a really, really good crease brush. Really similar to my Luxie brushes, the way that they feel. There are some random fluffy long-ended bristles, but I think that the way that these feel and the way that they apply is very comparable to my Luxie brush. And then this one's really nice for packing in shimmer shades. Really, really nice brush overall. If you're going to add a brush, it needs to be good, and I think that one's pretty good. You do get 21 shades in this palette, and out of the 21, only 8 are matte. The rest of these are shimmer. I do enjoy the fact that the really vibrant green is a matte and not a shimmer, because a lot of times the pop of color is always a shimmer product instead of a matte, and so I do really, really like that this is something that I can throw into the crease for a colorful look. For the look that is on my eyes right now, I used Polite and Gentle to set down my eyeshadow primer, which was concealer today, and then I took Likeable and Hidden and put it up into the crease. I then took Adventurous and put it in the crease and the outer V. Took Groovy into the outer V and up into the crease a little bit. And then I took Lionheart and Conquest on the inner half of the lid. I put Lionheart down first, which is the darker kind of rosy shade, and then put Conquest on top. And then I took VIP to Line and put Illusion on the inner corners. And overall, I think this is a really, really nice eyeshadow palette for $10. You get all of these shadows, a brush, nice packaging, and they last really nicely on the eyes. The shimmers do fade a little bit throughout the day, but overall, I think that it still looks really, really pretty. I've enjoyed all of the looks that I've gotten with this palette. I've gotten quite a few compliments when I use the green. When I go out and about, I do only wear the green on the lower lash line just because it is a little bit more wearable. But it does blend pretty nice. It does need a little bit of building if you're going to put it in the crease. but overall I do think that the quality is really nice of this palette. I can't speak to the other ones, obviously. There is an all matte, there's a neutrals, there's a berry, a red tone palette, a cool tone with a blue and a pink in it. I mean, they have lots to choose from. There is a palette for everyone. So I will go ahead and swatch by row. First we have Illusion, Polite, Winner. Let me get a better swatch of Winner, just so you can see the shade. And then Tango. Tango is kind of like a yellowy melony orange. Yellow? I don't know. It's very similar to this one. It's a little more golden and this one's a little more yellow. And then we have Glory, Solstice, and Focus. This is row 1. I do feel that all of these like yellowy tones are all very similar though. Moving on to the second row, we have Gentle, Conquest. Love Conquest. It's super pretty. Sunny and Lionheart. Then we have Carefree. It's not swatching very well. This one's a little bit hard to work with. And then we have Quest and Blitz. Blitz is kind of like a eyeshadow topper. Instead, it doesn't have a lot of pigment, but it does have some glitters in it. Here is the second row. Moving on to the final row, we have Likeable, which is similar to my skin tone. Hidden, Adventurous, and then Mic Drop. Mic Drop is really pretty. It's a really nice like copper, like a penny copper. And then we have Groovy, Cypress, and then VI, which is a really nice black for such a cheap, affordable palette. So here is the final row. I forgot to mention that this brand is cruelty free, so if that's an issue for you, you are good to go with these products. So as a whole, I think the brand is pretty good, especially for their price point. I do think that the eyeshadows and the blushes are their top products. The highlights and the lip products are not bad products, they just don't call to me personally. But I do think that these eyeshadows are great, and I definitely think I'm going to pick up another one. Maybe one of the ones with a little more interesting colors, since they are so affordable. I really think that the eyeshadow palette is worth it, as well as the blush palette. I know I've already said that. And I think that the price point's great. So overall, good quality products with good pricing. So I definitely think that they get my seal of approval, but I recommend the eyeshadow palette and the blush palette over everything. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope that you found it helpful. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you would like to subscribe, please feel free, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.